This is going to be a bit tricky. You might need your friend to help you here to try and flip back and forth. Because read the question with me, and pretty quickly you realize you need some more information than what the question just gives you. Let's read. It says Ingrid's 17, living at home, and unemployed. I'll talk about what that word means in a second because it's not as obvious as you might sound. She earns $205 per fortnight and is entitled to youth allowance. Calculate the allowance Ingrid will receive. Okay, pause for a moment. Let's get our pen in hand, okay, and as usual, let's write down the essential details before we get any further. So this is question 6, okay? So you have a look, right? Now, it tells us her age and it tells us something about her circumstances. That's because, as I mentioned before, that's what allowances are about. You've got to kind of know these things, right? So Ingrid is that age. That's important. We'll look at her age in a second. She's living at home and she's unemployed. Now, even though most people would say, oh, unemployed, it means you don't have a job. Okay? There's something else in the question that tells you actually that's not what they mean at all. What tells you that she's not unemployed in that sense? Yeah, she's earning money, a fair bit of it as well, right? So when they say unemployed in this context, right, this is actually referring to she's not studying. That's really what's happening. So there are different rules that apply for people who study and people who don't. So it means employed in study, okay? So living at home, she's not studying, and then she's got this income, $205 per fortnight. And then it says, as if that's enough, it says, okay, work out the youth allowance for me, okay? Now, having written down these essential facts, I'm pretty sure that's all of them, okay? What we now need to do is you need to flip back a little bit. So in your textbook, they helpfully provide this huge, massive table, okay? If you go to, let me just check for you. It's either 1 or 2 pages back. I'll show you what it looks like so you know you're on the right one. Here we go. Okay, and there's 2 we're interested in. The first one's on page 17, so it looks like this. Can you see that one? Page 17. It's at the bottom of the page, and it's this smaller looking table. And it says, the headings are circumstance and fortnightly payment. Do you see that one? Yeah? Okay. Now just look at that one with me and see how it relates to Ingrid here, right? It's just talking about the life circumstances. That's her age, where she's living, and we'll talk about the employment in a second, right? So which one of these rows does Ingrid fall under? Under 18. In fact, luckily for us, it's just the first one. Yeah, it's just the first one. So we're assuming she's single with no children, based on the information we've been given. So therefore, what I'm going to say is, the full payment would equal, and everything's on a fortnightly basis because usually salaries and stuff like that are on a fortnightly basis. The full payment would be $220.40. Okay, so that's what I get from the first table. Okay, I've jotted that down. Now move over the page and have a look at the next considerably larger, more intimidating table. Okay, so this is the one which at the top it says personal income test for youth allowance. Do you see that one? Yeah. Now this is what this is talking about, right? They're not just going to hand her that amount of money straight off because she's earning an extra amount of money, like in addition, right? So therefore, have a look at this table again. Which one is she? Again, she's that first row, right? And then in the second column, you can see you're either a student or you're unemployed. You see, that's how I can tell unemployed actually doesn't mean no job. It means you're not studying, okay? So she is unemployed, right? So I'm looking at the second row in that, the second line of writing in the first block there, right? So have a look at those 2 columns on the right-hand side now. Do you see this? These 2 ones here? One that says full allowance and one that says part allowance. Do you see that one? Yeah? Okay. Now, do you see it talks about how much income she makes and then asks, well, how much does that compare to what she's actually earning? Okay. So she's earning $205 per fortnight, right? So reading that last pair of columns there, it says, she can earn up to $143 and still get this full amount. She can earn up to that amount, okay, and still get that. Is she earning up to that amount? She's gone over, hasn't she? So there's like a threshold there, and she's passed over it. Okay? Now, here's an important thing. You might want to just jot this down, and I will explain it in a second. Remember how we said most allowances are subject to an income test, right? What happens is as you pass over that threshold, right, the allowance will decrease in proportion to how much you're earning over the threshold, right? It doesn't just like magically cut off all of a sudden, okay? So the allowance that you get, like this $220.40, the government will take slices of that in proportion to how much you're over the threshold. And we said the threshold was $143, right?